Om Shri Sai Ram. You are all getting an overdose of Sai students, so to speak. But uh, thank you, thank you. No, that's the love between the devotees and the students, right? That's how our Bhagwan desired it. And now, as we look back, we can see how he fashioned and designed his life and ours, right? And sometimes we may not have seen his hand adequately, but I came across this beautiful talk given by Steve Jobs. So don't start thinking I'm going to talk about Steve Jobs here. But Steve Jobs said, he died of pancreatic cancer very early on. And he said, when I look back at my life, the one thing that I've learned to do is connect the dots. Connect the dots. This is very important, just like Brother Ravi Kumar also was saying in the morning. When you look back at your life, whether you had direct interactions with Swami or they were in the form of dreams or learnings, think about how your own life is proceeding, how it is unfolding by connecting the dots. And when I as a Sai student, had those very momentous, memorable interactions with Bhagwan, little did I realize that the sort of culmination of those interactions, those ideas, and that communication that he was doing with me and with the group of boys around me would culminate in this theme repeatedly. And I was about to say I'm younger than y'all. It's just been a habit being a Sai student, right? Swami's boys, we were always young. Now I'm probably older than many of you. But nevertheless, I'm just saying, I'm taking the liberty of saying this, that Sai devotees across the world, I have traveled quite a bit to speak and conduct retreats and workshops. What I've noticed is that Sai devotees across the world are an amazing community. The interactions are so pure. The interactions are selfless. The interactions are always intended in the direction of spiritual growth. But I also see and feel sincerely that when you think about this great avatar, his incredibly selfless life, the body of teachings that he's left us, and most importantly, his expectations from all of us. That word is very important. What was Swami's expectations from us? Many, many times as a student, with the storm of adolescence going through my mind, Swami would call me into the interview room and say, I'm just narrating to you a couple of incidents. One of these interactions happened in the evening during bhajan time, and I was sitting outside, and those, we have a period of time when Swami takes you close, so that's like being in the oasis. And then there's a longer period of time when you're in the desert and you have to only remember the oasis. But you cannot crib about it, right? Having got those precious moments, those precious interactions with this great avatar, one can only have gratitude. But I'm just telling you one little snippet, one little cross-section of what happened. This was at the time of my MBA, and Swami called me inside the interview room. He came down from the bhajan. It's very difficult for Swami to come down from the bhajan. There's a footstool and it's very small space and all. He just called me like this. He said, come inside. And he said, Mariwalla, तुम्हारा mind My last name is Mariwalla. Your mind is not like I would expect the mind of a Sai student. These are Swami's words. तुम्हारा mind Sai student के जैसा नहीं है. And he didn't, like Ravi Kumar sir was saying, he knew how to teach without leaving you with too much guilt, because he made it out as if it's okay, but improve. It's okay, I know your deficiencies, but now change. And he would give us a few such cautions or warnings, and then one day the axe would fall. And by the axe falling, I mean your interactions with Swami would come to an end. So Bhagwan used these two tools, his love and attention and his time, and the withdrawal of his love and attention and his time. And it would be so stark. The comparison would be like the oasis to the desert comparison, right? And that is when he told me in that little interaction, these are exactly his words. He says, Mariwalla, when you come to the mandir, you wear a white shirt and pant, you're very worried about your white pant. You check, this is the mandir, the Prashanti mandir, but you check that the place is clean. If it is not, with the mat that is under your arm, you clean the place, and then you sit on the mat. Think about me, Mariwalla, he said, think about me. You are making me sit in your heart, which is impure. And to date, I remember this because he knew everything. He knew when and how I would use this example. Maybe it was meant to be used here as well for your benefit. And I consider myself just as a pipe. The pipe is useless, right? The tap is ornate. I'm just the pipe. The pipe just communicates. But that idea has stayed with me so much. And then he went on to say, Sai Baba ko kya samajhta hai? What do you think of Sai Baba? And he said, make your heart SSS. And I said, Shri Sathya Sai, he said, no, single seat sofa. So he is always ahead of us. He's very creative, very spontaneous, but single seat sofa. So today, when I bring you to this topic, it is because Swami spoke to me a number of times about this in group interviews. And at one point in my own sadhana, I was in the Jersey City Sai Center. I started to feel a great emptiness in how I am relating with Swami. So I would go to the bhajan, I would shave as a student goes clean shaven, put on white clothes, drive there, get there in time, sing well, relatively okay with talam and ragam and all that. But when I was driving back from the Jersey City Sai Center, it would hit me that this 1.5 hour that I had spent in the Jersey Sai Center didn't open up my heart, didn't make me feel that love, that pining, that yearning, that cleaning, that purification, that love that I felt when I was in Parthi. Now I had two choices. I could say, oh, this is America, a very worldly place, Western hemisphere, right? Or I could say, I need to recreate Swami in my heart, right? Given the amount of love he has shown me and my family, I cannot go to these bhajans and just come away feeling empty. I should feel full. I should feel empowered. I should feel like I need to act. I need to move on. And when I moved to Raleigh, one of the times we were interacting at the center, they asked me that, why don't you take this topic, master the mind, be a mastermind? And that's when I came across so many jewels of Swami's teachings, which though I had read a lot of Swami's literature, I had missed out. And I'm going to walk you through some of that. And I also want you to know, I read a lot of books of Swami, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, Ramana Maharishi, and others. And I over-accumulated a lot of conceptual knowledge, ideas, phrases, consciousness, awareness, waves, heart, kundalini, all of those things. And I'm sure most of you have done the same. We listen to talks, today, the digital media has made it so easy to find a talk on a particular subject. We listen to the talk and we feel as if we did some sadhana. But I feel it's the other way around. And one of the reasons that I have packaged this content up into this workshop content is that Swami often told us on the portico when he was standing after he would conduct interviews, he would come and say, Kya faida, barrels, donkey's milk. What is the profit, what is the benefit from accumulating barrels and barrels or gallons and gallons of donkey's milk? And he would say very beautifully, and see, this avatar is special. We should only be talking about what he said, how he taught us. He would say, Oka chinna spoon cow's milk chalu in Telugu. That is, 1/2 teaspoon of cow's milk is better than barrels of donkey's milk. And I'm telling you that because in my own internalization process and my growth, I feel like accumulation of concepts, reading, talks, and all of that is like barrels and barrels of donkey's milk. Because it's somebody else's idea. They had those experiences, but it's their experience. You and I listen to those experiences, and by projection, by the power of projection, we feel a sort of internal mental satisfaction. And then we move on. We don't change. We don't experience anything. And the one thing that I want you to take away from this presentation is that let's talk about experiential knowledge. So those are the 4 key objectives. We'll talk a little bit about Bhagwan's teachings and what was his emphasis. How can we develop that experiential knowledge? And why? What is the importance of that experiential knowledge? Challenge yourself as you sit here. And by show of hands, tell me how many of you in the last 1 month, we are coming to the end of May, during the month of May, how many of you have meditated or sat silently for more than half an hour in a week? Wonderful, wonderful. But you couldn't face the audience and see that the people who raised their hands were a very slim minority. And that's fine, that's fine. And now I want to ask you, I think I saw about 8 or 9 hands. How many of you who raised your hands felt like from the first week of May to the last week of May, my meditation has improved and I am getting somewhere? Wonderful. I see 4, 5, 6. Great. So let's talk a little bit about that a little bit more. So quickly touching on Swami's teachings. All of you are so well read. You know all of this. But what I want to do is to remind you that these teachings are not as simple as they look. And why do I say that? There is no use, there is no value, there is no gain by you thinking that you can complete that sentence. If I were to put mind is a dash of dash, 100% of you will answer bundle of desires. But of what use is that to you or to me or to Sai Baba? Knowing that the mind is a bundle of desires as a sentence in English is of no value. Similarly, Mano Moolam Idam Jagat. The world is the creation of the mind. Okay, so what? I still need to take my car to the garage. I still need to take myself to the doctor. I still need to earn money for my family. I still need to check my stocks. Mano Moolam Idam Jagat, so what? body is like a water bubble. You may come across relatives, friends passing away. And Swami used to often joke with us. He said the one thing about human beings is when they see their relatives and friends dying, never does a thought enter their mind that I also will die one day. And you will not believe it, brothers, sisters. That is what we should be communicating here. Swami, even to the primary school kids, elementary school kids in Puttaparthi, would talk about how important it is to recognize the limitation of the human body. He would say, think about a train, a compartment which has a date on which it will go back to the locomotive shed. So the body is like a water bubble. And I know some of you were saying before the workshop began, mind is like a mad monkey. What does a mad monkey do? Have you seen a mad monkey? US doesn't have any monkeys anyway. So you probably haven't seen a mad monkey. But a mad monkey is one who is without direction, purpose. Nobody knows what prompts his or her actions. And Swami used to sometimes joke. When he used to ask this question, mind is like a, and we would all say in chorus, mad monkey. Swami said, no, not mad monkey. Mad and drunken monkey, he would say. So he would always outpace us, right? And then he said, don't follow the body, don't follow the mind. Now, so many years have passed. In fact, if you do a good research on Swami's discourses, you will be surprised. In the early years, 1960s itself, he started speaking about all of these things. So it's been all of 60, 65 years that his teachings have been around. They are not new teachings. And he never claimed that these teachings are new. His teachings are totally in line with Vedanta. If you read Sri Shankaracharya, which Ravi Kumar was talking about, there is nothing new in Swami's teachings. What was new is that he came to simplify those truths for us. For instance, he would tell us often, Bamsu, he would come out from the interview room, he would be perspiring, and then he would look at us seated like this, 400 or so boys, and we would say, Bamsu, Jumpsu, Bamsu, Jumpsu. And of course, we got used to it later on. But what did he mean? As he was looking at our eyes, looking at the auras that we emanated, God knows what he was seeing. But he would say, Bamsu, Jumpsu. And then he would say, when you get good marks, you are up. When you have bad marks, because as students, we are preoccupied with like Ravi Kumar sir was saying, right? He wanted to pass in math. That was our world. That was our universe. So when we prayed to Swami and we got these trivial things that we wanted, Swami, you're great. Swami, you're God. Now, Swami became God just because I got marks in chemistry or math, right? And nobody could change our perception or our thinking. That was our childish way of thinking about Swami in those days. So when you go further, you'll also see that is the principle of the Atma. And as students, when we were in the interview room, you will not believe it. There would be many occasions in which Swami would speak for an hour, hour and a half. And at the end of the discourse, we were like 50 students packed in a tiny space like that. And we would come out. And we were like just barely surviving, perspiring and fitting in there and just gazing at him, right? And then we would exchange notes and say, I don't know, I didn't understand any of Swami's discourse, but I'll tell you one thing. I counted Swami said the word Atma 57 times. Right? So his message, his teaching was very powerful, but it was not meant to excite. It was not a sensational teaching. It was not one where you can talia, applaud, encore. No, that was not his teaching. His teaching was that, hey, I am protecting all of you. All the Sai devotees, all the Sai students, many millions of people. Out of this whole world of 7.5 billion people, I picked you up. Many of you will endorse that when you have time to speak and share. You know that Swami brought each one of us. One day, just straying a little bit from my topic. One day I was sitting at Swami's feet. There were only two of us. And one of the boys had felt very homesick and told the warden and went off. And he had some little pain in the back, and he said that he's unwell, and he went off. So I was seated at Swami's feet, pressing Swami's feet, and I could sense that Swami was unhappy with what that boy had done. And so Swami started sort of complaining about that boy and telling me about that boy. I hope you all are able to follow. I'm not able to build up much background, but Swami was calling both of us in for many days in a row, and suddenly that boy went off, and I was alone with Bhagwan. I was pressing Swami's feet, but I could sense Swami's, on the one hand, this great avatar is giving to us ordinary boys, so to speak. And that thought came in my mind. And after he spoke for a long time, I felt very bad that Swami is talking so much. I should say something, right? It doesn't look good that you're just... So what do you make of it, that interaction is between two people? So I said, Swami, you should forgive us, Swami. We are ordinary boys. And when he heard that word ordinary, he got so irritated. He got so angry. He stood up on the stool. He says, Kortanra, I will beat you up. And he said, none of you are ordinary. And then he went on to describe my house in Mumbai, my flat, how there was no place to move around. It was a small flat, blah, blah. But I'm saying, in that moment, Swami, that divinity that is part of our great Sai, our Lord, right, expresses itself when he wants to open, when he wants to awaken us, when he wants to raise our consciousness. And one such thing which was most precious to Swami's heart was this theme of discussion on how thoughts become desires and desires become the mind. So, as you sit here, it is not like, it's not as if you do not know what is written here. There is nothing very difficult about what is written here. But this is so basic, it is almost like, you know, when we were around Swami, Swami was materializing Vibhuti so many times a day that when you came back from darshan, say it was an ordinary day, and then you tell the person, yeah, did Swami materialize Vibhuti for anybody? Yeah, 4-5 people. So what? Materialization of Vibhuti is so simple for you. That means you've grown such a thick layer of insensitivity. The act of creation of Vibhuti by Bhagwan for some devotee or student is an outpouring of his love. So in the same way, these three pillars, thoughts, desires, mind, you know it, but you have stopped caring for it. You have stopped bothering about how and when do thoughts become desires, how that initial movement of thoughts, which is random. I'll give you some examples. You're driving to pick up your son from tennis. You're fine. All of a sudden, a beautiful car comes into your lane. You're still fine. As you look at that car, you get more attracted. Say, yeah, I think I would love to own this car or something like it, right? Then you stop at a light and that car is right in front of you. Then you take out your cell. Now you have time and you start to Google it. You start to find out, is it possible for me to own it? And then you have everything on your app today. Then you look at your Bank of America app. Say, but is it even possible? What are the rates of interest today? Is it possible for me to get this car? And you have proven that entire cascade of occurrences in your mind. An innocent appearance of a nice car in front of you has cascaded you to create more solidified mind matter, which one day will come to haunt you, which one day will come to trouble you. And I give you a very, very simple example. Purposely, I gave you that example which is uncontroversial. But you all know there are many controversial ideas that start like that. You put on the TV, you see something, right? It's innocent, it's simple, it's passing. And then that initial movement starts to take hold. And look at some of the points that I've written. Swami often explained to us, in fact, in the discourses one day, he was speaking so much about the mind. I asked Swami, he spoke about mano nashanam and mano layam and all that, which is destruction of the mind. And I said, I was very confused. So I said, Swami, what is all this? How will we ever get there? And then I had a different pair of glasses. He did this and he took out my spectacles and he said, Mariwalla, these specs, why are they on your nose? I said, Swami, to correct my vision. He said, exactly. The mind is there to help you navigate the world and to correct your vision. But when your vision is corrected, क्या करता है? Mariwalla chashma फेंक देता है. I said, Swami, don't throw away my glasses. But that's how he taught us. Now look at the spiritual wisdom that is embedded in those simple constructs. As long as you need to navigate this world, as long as you need to make good, as long as you need to get around, you need to indulge your mind in this process. You need to allow your mind to go from thoughts to desires. Innocent desires, simple desires. Yes, you do need a car. Yes, you do need a second car. But do you need a fifth car? You have a 4-bedroom house. Do you need a 10-bedroom house? Who is going to put a stop to you as you think about these things? It is possible to do all of that. But is that what you are here for? And man can only do one thing in his lifetime. If Elon Musk is going to be great at inventing, you saw what happened when he tried to do Department of Government Efficiency. I'm just kidding. I'm just saying, you can do only one thing in your life. You can be only known for one thing in your life. You cannot do a lot of different things. If you want to build a 10-bedroom house with 6 cars, then you have to work day and night only on the material side. You will not be able to do anything else. So these innocent desires that are necessary for you to run your life, your children's life, we should invest in. But be careful of this thing called the mind. The mind is that. It's a force which you cannot ignore. It also presents itself in many unanticipated ways. Suddenly you have free time. You don't want to do, you don't know how to spend it. All the bottled up negativity, all the bottled up dirt that is there in you will express itself. Now, if you look at scientific publications, there is nothing on the mind. There is nothing on the mind. All scientific publications talk about the brain. And yes, it does seem like the brain is an important tool for the mind to work. But the mind is really much, much more than that. So these are the two teachings that I discovered, and I felt so ashamed that I had not seen this after being with Swami for so many years. You can refer to the Vidya Vahini. It's there in chapter 18. And again, I request you, I implore you, just as you want to listen to incidents, events, Swami's materializations and all that, the time has come for all of us to go within and to use that grace, those memories, those beautiful incidents, those creations, that love and protection that he gave us. We have to go beyond just dwelling in that, beyond just taking comfort from the fact that Swami is our protector. Yes, he is our protector. But what is it that he wanted from us? Right? And this is, so when you look at Swami's teachings, you will find it very difficult to find this. Swami said the mind is engaged in 2 activities, alochana or planning, and manasik sambhashana or dialogue. What is the time? Okay. So both these follow different lines. So the first one, I've just put it on this page because it doesn't matter. This is just the normal ability of the mind, the normal capability or the functionality of the mind to help you to get around. It is harmless. It has to be done. You need to know how to cut vegetables, how much to set your timing on the crock pot, how to make a Zelle payment, how to log into Teams as part of your work, how to set up a call. That is all alochana. Pay attention, because we are missing out on these basic things and we just want to read more, compile more ideas and knowledge. These are Sai's teachings which are transformative. Now going further, this is the key slide of this workshop. Alochana is simple. It is about planning. It is necessary navigating the world. Manasik Sambhashana. On the previous slide, it was called out. You can see that second point. Because you need to take this word and work with it. So you need to know the word. If you don't know the word, because Western science calls it inner chatter, inner conversation, and Western psychology accepts it as a necessary part of your psyche. But see what Swami says. Swami totally rebuts and refutes that idea that Manasik Sambhashana is necessary or essential. Swami totally refutes that idea. He says, dialogue multiplies the problems and confounds the solutions, causing confusion and adoption of wrong and ruinous means to solve them. Now, where does this tendency, this capability of the mind arise from? It is with your permission, it is with my permission that the mind does this. Many, many masters have described that the mind is a problem-solving tool. But who set it on the task of problem-solving? You and me. Anything that happens, say you were driving from Atlanta or from Raleigh to this place. You were constantly checking alternate routes, checking what others have experienced. Somebody says go on the express lane. So there's an element of your mind working which is alochana or planning, but there's a lot of worry. Now, how do we take any incident and understand what is alochana, what is acceptable, what is sambhashana, and what is unacceptable? The unacceptable part of it is your denial, your worry, your resistance. You cannot do anything about it. Whatever decision you make, if you take an alternate route given by Google, that may get you here tomorrow. But you and I don't have any control over anything that is happening in our lives. But the mind gives us the impression that you are in charge. You feel you are in charge for your children's destiny. But were you in charge of your own destiny? What did you do? What courses did you study? And what are you working as? What did you want as your partner? And what did you get as your partner? Which country did you want to live and which country are you living in? Right? When you look back, this is what Swami wants us to do. He wants us to use his grace to go within. Today we have decided to remain at a very superficial level of engagement with Swami. Swami is waiting. When will these wonderful devotees, these pure-hearted, good people, when will they all ask me to give them that wisdom, that awakening? And these are not my words, these are his words. But these hidden teachings, and I'll tell you, there are 6,000 discourses of Swami on the Sathya Sai Speaks search engine. Go and check it out after this workshop. You will not find this anywhere. It is only in one place. See, Swami has repeated hundreds of teachings, thousands of times. Why did he not repeat this teaching in this way ever? Check it out and please write to me. Please call me and tell me if you find that Swami has said as much about Manasik. I could not find Swami using the word Manasik Sambhashana ever again in any other literature. And I am not trying to take credit for me finding it, because that is useless. My own Manasik Sambhashana is huge. At the smallest turn of events, my Manasik Sambhashana scales up. It's uncontrollable. This is not about taking credit for the term. It's about starting to work on this problem that all of us have. Disappointment, small and big, delays. Think about it. You're going to catch a flight, okay? And you're just 5 minutes late. Oh, your mind has worked it out. No, boarding goes on for half an hour, I'll make it, right? Now, think about you are mid-air and the pilot announces that you're 1 hour delayed and you're definitely going to miss your onward flight, and that onward flight is like super important, right? Or it's to a very... Now you're in the plane, you don't even have proper network, but you're going berserk, you're going crazy with what to do. 1 million options will present itself to you, right? 1 million options. Should I do this? Should I ask her? Should I call him? Should I do this? What should I do? Where are alternate flights? Should I go via Minnesota? Hundreds of things will start. That is Manasik Sambhashana. And am I just trying to... I have such a good audience. Am I just trying to fool you guys into believing this? No. Why is Manasik Sambhashana so important to understand? And because if you don't understand it, you cannot manage it. You will be a victim of Manasik Sambhashana. You will be a victim. You prepare a presentation for a client, and your boss, who has worked with you for a month on that presentation, calls you and says, I don't think you did a good job of this. All hell will break loose in your mind. Say, what? He worked with me on it. He told me to do this. I did what he said. But now he's blaming me. What is the next? Then your mind starts working on the next thing. So what is in my boss's mind? Am I in line for a layoff? Is he thinking? So many options. And you can see all that is written there. Now the point is this yet another nice teaching which was hidden, which you compile, assimilate, and repeat to others? No. No. Try to find those trigger points for Manasik Sambhashana in your life. That is the sadhana we have to do. Break down what this mind means. When you analyze your mind, what is my mind? What are the different faculties of my mind? The biggest and the most limiting faculty of our minds is something that we love. Those are our memories. We accumulate memories. We revisit memories. We thrive on memories. Now the question is, I have a memory of Swami, but I have a lot of other memories too. How do I differentiate between these memories? Which of those memories will create that Manasik Sambhashana which is not acceptable to me? Like Swami told me, your mind is not like the mind of a Sai student. That was my 8th year in Puttaparthi. And I'm sharing this with you in the spirit of sharing. That is why I started by saying there is so much love between Sai students and Sai devotees. It is his love that we have to share, and that's why we thrive. But that set of memories is actually a volcano waiting to erupt. Now, am I telling you not to have memories? Even if I tell you don't have memories, it's not going to work. We are accumulating memories every second, every minute. And those memories are driving a lot of our Manasik Sambhashana. Analysis, we already spoke quite a bit about. Worries. Now, Swami, please don't mind this when I say that, because you are in the majority. Swami so often talked to us male students, right? And he would say, he would look at us and say, wife Ochinda, has your wife come? I say, Swami, I'm like a kid, right? And then he would use that to explain. And you have to understand this very well. He said, worry invited forever. And I know. But hold on. For many years, so I heard Swami repeating this, worry invited forever. WIFE. For many years. I would have heard this from his blessed lips over 200 times. Okay? My wife is a wonderful person, so you don't need to go there. I hope not. I'll have a double problem. But, one day, when I was living in Swami's residence for a few years, I entered and went to sit at his feet. And he said, wife Ochinda, same. 200 times I have heard it. And I said, he's going to now say, worry invited forever. And he said, mind. So worry invited forever is not your wife, is not your spouse, is not your partner. This body, mind are partners. Body and mind are the two partners. They do everything hand in hand. Physical, mental. Analyze this. There is no mental. Close your eyes. Can you think of anything that you have not seen, heard, touched, felt, experienced? There is nothing. You will fail. Try. Mental is all originating from physical. Physical is mental, mental is physical. So he said, wife Ochinda, he says in your physical life, your physical interactions, you're accumulating memories. You're using those memories to imagine. You take 2 and 2 and make 20. That's imagination. And that is all your mind. And your mind and the body are it's like a door with a hinge. That is the hinge. The body and the mind are very deeply connected. I want you to absorb this because these 4 or 5 faculties, they work together. But if you are not able to analyze your mind and look so like if you look at a plant, you can see the disease is on the stem or on the leaves. There is a different medicine for leaf disease, different medicine for stem disease. That is the importance of these different faculties of the mind. Because if you have to ever get into controlling your manasik sambhashna, you'll need to know what is triggering it. Is it an old memory which has nothing to do with what happened today, but it just came up? It could be a mistake you made 40 years back. You think about it. Oh my God, how could I do that? I'm a Sai devotee. What will happen if my children came to know about it? Manasik sambhashna is increasing. There's a wave, and then it's going to crash. Right? Is it old memories? If you have not done this, what sadhana are we doing? How are we Sai devotees? Swami's whole mission was about turning the torchlight of self-analysis on our insides. And don't think that I am trying to say I am on a crusade to make some new teachings. No. When Rani Ma, who is a very great devotee, and I interacted with her, she was with Swami in the 50s. There were 4 sisters. And my mother had a great opportunity to serve her till her demise. You can read on Radio Sai. Swami went to her room in East Prashanti. And he asked her, Rani Ma, kya sadhana karta hai? What sadhana do you do? She said, Swami, same. Nagar Sankirtan, Vedam, Bhajan. He said, no, that is not sadhana. Now she was like, what? Self-analysis karo, Rani Ma, self-analysis. He said 80% should be self-analysis. That self-analysis is here. What is triggering my manasik sambhashna? How much am I at the mercy of my mind? Am I at the mercy of my mind? Is it a rare happening that I lose control and sleep? Or is it a frequent happening? If it's a frequent happening, even physically it will hurt you. You will not be able to sleep. Not only that, you know, sometimes my son tells me, he's telling me something while we are driving, and he says, Papa, Papa, are you listening? I say, yeah. And then again, Papa. And I know that is Manasik Sambhashna. My physical action is driving. Poor fellow, he's saying something there. It's important to him, but my Manasik Sambhashna is taken over. And there was one of our students, obviously I cannot name him because I know him well. He was having a lot of Manasik Sambhashna for years. One day in the bhajan hall, Swami used to always look at him and say, hey, like that Swami used to say, you know, like snap out of it. Snap out of it. Like my son's saying, right? Papa, Papa, like that. Swami used to do like this. And that boy used to snap out of it and then come back into the bhajan hall. One day he went so deep into that Manasik Sambhashna. Swami got down in the middle of the bhajan, went amongst the boys and patted him and said, don't do that. So, brothers, sisters, why is the Western way of thinking about inner conversation, mental chatter? Sounds like a very nice thing. Oh, mental chatter. That mental chatter can destroy you. At your weak moments, it can bring out impure ideas, accumulations, wrong tendencies that will just take you over. But that is for a person who is dwelling in the world and looking at worldly success. But if you and I want to make any spiritual success, Manasik Sambhashna is super important to become aware of and then to start actively managing it. What is the time, please? Okay. So I had planned to do a breakout, but I think, see, I'm not less interested in achieving something like, oh, we did a breakout, right? I want to share with you my experience and my learnings, and even if we can't do a breakout, I'm fine with that. But so is it making sense to you all? And I'll tell you one thing, wherever I have traveled, right, whenever I do a set of talks, first talk I will do, I'll tell them all good things. Swami opened the door, he said this, take namaskar, he rubbed vibhuti on my father's chest, all that. And second talk I'll say, guys, if you want to do the same thing again, it's endless. But what are you going to get out of it? Do you want to know where I am on my journey? Do you want to know how Swami is guiding me, what I am doing? That is the sharing we can do. I say, it's unanimous. No, we want the second. So I have been encouraged by my interactions with people to know that this is a theme of great interest. And of course, Swami is working with each of you directly, right? Like I said, I am a pipe. Nobody knows the pipe. Nobody sees the pipe, right? It's a concealed pipe. Sai is the tap, and the divine wisdom of Vedant is what should reach you. So the many faculties of the mind that were there in the previous slide, I put it here. I made a small framework, right? You can call it the FIT framework, F-I-T. So you see the faculties on the right. We discussed that, right? Memories, imagination, problem solving, analysis. All that were the faculties. Now, what is the big thing that we see happening? That Manasik Sambhashna, when it presents in a very big way, right? A big event has happened, or a big quarrel has happened, or suddenly somebody who was a close friend suddenly badmouths you, right? Or two brothers start fighting for property. They were very loving to each other, and suddenly, now this is going to create a lot of Manasik Sambhashna. Now what is important is the intensity, recognizing the intensity by which that Manasik Sambhashna is occurring to you is very important. Because if you don't pay attention when it is initially sparking and arising, it may overwhelm you completely. And there will be no return. It will have to play itself out. It's like a volcano which has started erupting. It needs to finish the eruption. All the lava needs to come out, right? So the wise man understands what are the trigger points that create very intense manasik sambhashana and seeks to avoid them. Why is it necessary to avoid those? Because once your mind is disturbed to that degree, even if you are sitting in the bhajan, even if you are setting up the altar, even if you are cooking, you will be only thinking about that problem. All your days will be wasted. Even if you do japa, you will finish 5 malas, 108 names. You are doing japa of Sai Nam, but you are thinking of that problem of manasik sambhashana. So if you are able to find the trigger points early on, especially for those which are very intense, and then see what is it all about. Is it the past or the future? Is it worries about the future, or is it problems, mistakes you or others made in the past? So this is just a little bit of a help. Now, these are some examples that I have come across because it helps, right? So I already gave you some of these, but I'm going to just give me 1 minute. I'm going to give you a very simple example, okay? Let's say Sister Winnie, whom all of you saw, right? Sister Winnie walks in now, right? And somebody who knows her very well, right, passes her and doesn't acknowledge her. Right? This happens all the time. So I'm working with Vinay, right? Vinay is my co-host. I'm working with him. Now I meet him and I just disregard him and I go off. Right? So Vinay starts thinking, what's going on with Ravi? Right? So that's just a random thought is triggered by that event. Then we meet again in the canteen, in the mess area. And he gets his plate and comes to sit near me. And I take my plate and go and sit there. Now he's sure. And he starts visualizing this meeting. Okay? He starts visualizing this. Who was there in that meeting? Did Ravi ask me to do something and I ignored him? Did I do something wrong? Did I interrupt him? Manasik sambhashana, starting, growing, increasing. So that is the commonest example you can take away. So the first time I did this workshop, after doing it, 7 or 8 people came and told me, Ravi, you don't know what you're talking about. This is all false. This is all not there. Then I told them, I'll give you 3 places where you should test this out. When you're taking a shower, just start observing what's going on. When you're driving, don't do anything. Sometimes you can watch a movie or a video or hear a talk or the news. Don't do anything. And third thing which I told them to do was, when you're eating a meal, don't watch TV or look at your cell. And the next session we had in the Sai Center, all of them came back and said, oh my God, Manasik Sambhashana is a roaring engine. It's a roaring engine. We started hearing it. We started finding it. And so that taught me that, my God, we have not even skimmed the surface of spirituality. Spirituality is so deep, it is so big a matter. We keep on thinking that we are a spiritual organization, we are spiritual devotees. But we have a long, long way to go. But at least we can start by starting to look at these things. So I'll open it up and let you hear some other voices also. But please keep it short. Vinay, can I request you to pass the mic around? I want 4 or 5 of you to sort of share what you heard, whether you agree with it. Don't share anything personal because it can become... We all have personal examples of this, right? But please, let's hear what others have to say.
Saira, it was very nice, but a quick question in the sense of, This Sambhashana obviously would actually start, like the scenario which we were saying, that if something happens, the Sambhashana would start going on. There are two questions especially. Yes, the Sambhashana starts, how to, when we feel that, okay, the Sambhashana is over, not it's in any more control, it's going on, it's like an infinity. And yes, when to stop it? Is there any trigger point to say that, okay, now the Sambhashana is going on, and this is the last point. If I don't stop it, like you were saying, that you are going to be in the infinity mode and it will never end. So how to identify that? That's the one question. Yeah.
So brothers and sisters, you see, that's a very good question. See, if you want to cook a vegetable, what do? You just go to Google and you say, how to make dal fry, right? And you get it. Then you have the option to see the recipe page or see the video, right? But Manasik Sambhashana is not that simple. If you take the average age in this room, right? Probably none of us have been able to successfully manage Manasik Sambhashana at will. At will. Meaning, things go wrong, flights are missed, properties fighting going on, and I'm still calm. And not only calm, and see where I'm leading you with this, brothers and sisters, is meditate. You can be calm like this with your eyes open. What happens to you when you close your eyes? It's a bomb. A bomb explodes when you close your eyes. Now, see, why am I telling you all this? Vinay announced me as a person who stayed with Swami for 23 years. I got 3 gold medals. I am ashamed as a Sai devotee, as a Sai student, that I got to press Swami's feet on thousands of occasions. I got so many namaskars. But those feathers are not feathers in my cap. The real feather in my cap will be if when I close my eyes, I can align with Sai consciousness. Just like I yearned to align with Swami physically. Right? So brother, to your question, this is going to take time. It is, I have that somewhere. It is not an easy task. Today, if I have sold this to you properly and you start this journey, probably next year you may be able to share with the team some of your learnings. But give yourself time. Don't be in a hurry. And start observing. So what is your next action? Understand what is Manasik Sambhashana. Don't accept the Western idea of mental chatter being okay. Because you think it is okay, you don't even know that it is happening. First start questioning, do I need Manasik Sambhashana? When does it happen? What triggers it? Who triggers it? It could be always your boss triggering it or your partner triggering it, right? There are misunderstandings. So you have homework to do and there is no easy way, but I can only tell you from my own practice that the earlier you are able to identify the triggers, the better you will be. Now, the question is this session about Manasik Sambhashana? No, it is not. This session is not about Manasik Sambhashana. When you are able to put a little bit of control on your mind, something will become evident to you. When you are practicing meditation, you close your eyes. First, what will happen? To-do list. Oh, I have 45 minutes, I have to go to pick him up. Then, oh, this vegetable is in the fridge. It's getting fungus if I don't take it out. Oh, my boss told me that, did I write it down? Let me go check in my notebook. Only in meditation all these ideas start coming up. All this time I was happily watching TV. Now I put out the TV, I start meditating. Now to-do list. To-do list is just growing. Now at that time, if you have started practicing Manasik Sambhashana, honestly I tell you, you will start seeing some results. But that is not outside. See, for years, see the Sai students, why Swami gave us that blessing. Everywhere we created so many ideas. When we used to look at any picture of Swami, we would talk to it. We would relate to it. That is how Swami blessed us, that we could grow our bhakti to some extent, right? But what I told you about my dissatisfaction when I used to go to Justice City Sai Center, I went ahead with that. I took this teaching, and then when I went for 96th birthday, I was fed up. I was in Parthi. All I know, everybody there in the hospital, my other students, I was sitting there. And I said, why am I here? My kids and wife are struggling in the US. You know, it's so much work to be done. My hips were paining. I'm saying, what am I doing here? How is this? Yes, I'm in Puttaparthi, the most sacred place on earth. I know it, I feel it. But what am I doing here? That dissatisfaction, and I'm sharing this with you totally devoid of any desire to take credit. I'm just telling you what could happen to you if you pray and if you walk this path. I suddenly became aware of a type of stillness right there. One of my colleagues was sitting there and talking away about the hospital and the problems and this and that. And I suddenly became aware of a stillness. That the best way to describe it is stillness. Maybe it's not a stillness. It was, I became aware of something that I had felt many times in the past in Swami's presence. But I had rejected it. Why? Because of too much reading, too much conceptual ideas. Because in all the talks, in all the books that you read, who am I? Who am I? You have to ask. Or there will be bliss, or there will be some murli sound, or your breathing will slow a lot. All these ideas would overwhelm me. But that little experience of stillness that I was having in Parthi was not dependent on reading, chanting. I was in fact uncomfortable. And still I had that experience of stillness which was just there. And in the past 3 years, what I have done is try to practice that. Try to make it available to myself at will. Instead of it being given to me as a grace, one-off, because I had that experience many times in Swami's presence, I was able to recognize it. That I didn't throw it away. See, Swami gave us gems, right? If you are not a jeweler, say, what is this? Throw it away. I didn't do that this time. This time, my breath was not in control. My eyes were open. I was not chanting. Somebody was filling my ears with all kinds of things. And still I felt that stillness. So when I came back here, I started practicing it. And what I'm trying to share with you, brothers and sisters, is this manasik sambhashana is the negative, right? It's the boil, it's the cyst, it's the disease. You working on manasik sambhashana is not the goal, it's not the objective, it's not the triumph, it's not the peak or the summit. It is the rocks to climb and push behind you. The summit is, I will show you how I found that statement of Swami. If you can read that, see, you will see. So these are the secrets which he didn't repeat hundreds of times. See the last part, Nirvishaya Shanti, thus attained, is effulgent, blissful and associated with wisdom. It is, and in another place, I have that resource also. Swami has spoken about a topic called Uniki. It's a Telugu word. You don't need to worry about it. Uniki is existence. So the reason for us to work on stilling the mind is not to still the mind. And Swami has beautifully explained this many times. He says, you're looking up at the sky. but you can't see the sky. There are so many clouds in the sky. Hundreds of clouds are there. And what happens to you? Suddenly you become enamored of the shapes of the clouds. And you say, oh, that's a pig. This is a horse. This is a myna. This is a crow. Now suddenly, these useless clouds, totally useless clouds, you started getting attached to them. And you forgot that you wanted to see the sky. Swami has described this many times to us. So what are those clouds? Those clouds are our thoughts. We are so attached to Manasik Sambhashana that we don't even know that it's a negative. We enjoy Manasik Sambhashana. We thrive on Manasik Sambhashana. Without Manasik Sambhashana, there is no you or me. There is no Ravi Mariwalla without Manasik Sambhashana. Ravi Mariwalla is because of his memories, his worries. Not his wife, not his worries. Right? Your existence, your identity is built on your memories, your ideas. And you don't even want to change it. What will you do without that Manasik Sambhashana? You will see the sky. And when you see the sky, that stillness will be so amazing. It will be so transformative. It's the same joy that I got when I was in Swami's presence. That is how I was able to recognize it. Otherwise, this time also I would have let it go. So from 96th birthday onwards, that has been my sadhana. And I started by telling you, right? Barrels of donkey's milk versus half a teaspoon of cow's milk. Brothers, sisters, you and I have an opportunity. This Sathya Sai Baba, his life, his work, his selflessness, his divinity, I don't know how many more thousands of lifetimes have to pass to get somebody like him again. It's very difficult. It's very difficult. Look around you. Look around you. So with him as the catalyst, with him as the guru, with him as our ever-present Lord, if you and I can't even take these baby steps, that's why I started by saying, right, what are his expectations? I'm sure he wants us all to scale up. And these are his teachings. So the comfort that we derive from Manasik Sambhashana, you will keep on deriving that comfort because that is you. That Manasik Sambhashana has become you. There is no you without that Manasik Sambhashana. Without those worries, without those troubles, without those ideas, without those memories, your self-identity is gone. But if you want to identify yourself with Atma, if you really want self-realization, which is what he came to give, which is what he struggled for, all the teachings, all, like he told Ravi Kumar, you went to Ajanta Theatre. Why did he do that? One person, one kid, he put so much effort. He pretended next to his father different. He did, what is all this? Why? That was Sai Baba. He gave his life for all of us. Imagine the one or two children we are not able to bring up successfully. He has done this for thousands. There are thousands like this. But why did he do it? Because he thought one day their minds will be so pure, their minds will be so still that they will start sensing this Nirvishaya Shanti. So in this modern world, you and I are really doing something that is very different from the outward tendency of the world. This is creating an inward tendency. Go within. And you have a lot of challenges coming up, I'm telling you. Anybody who tries this, you will see how difficult it is. All your worldly achievements, you may be a millionaire, but when you close your eyes, you are nobody. You are powerless. You are helpless. You need help, in fact. And who is that who's going to help you? You yourself. Swami has empowered us. Why did he protect us so much? Why did he give us adequate worldly progress? Why did he cure our cancers? Why did he अच्छे से रखा. Swami used to tell, many times he say, Sai devotees ko Swami अच्छे से रखता है. Means, I see to their welfare. Why? Why did he make Ravi Kumar sir's father live 39 years after he was supposed to have days to live? So that I give you all that you ask me for, so that one day you may want what I have come to give. And that what I have come to give is the inner path. And don't for a minute mistake me that I am doing some new sensational thing. Swami in the portico, after interviews, every day this was his talk. I have hundreds of memories. He would just come out from the interview room and say, Andaru pravritti margamlo veltunaru. All of you are in the outward, you are following nature and the world. Nivrutti margamlo povala means inner journey you should start. So this is not me, but you and I have drifted so far away from Swami that we are thinking that all external things only are Swami's teachings and actions. No. Lot of internal work needs to be done. And when you do that internal work, we always say, right, why are our group 4 kids leaving? Why don't they want to come back? Why would they want to come back? None of us are setting any example. You're just doing the normal things that the Lions Club does, the Red Cross does, many other charities do. What are they seeing in us? Are they seeing those 6,000 discourses, all these things that Swami said? Are they making a change in us? Are we finding ways to look at the sky instead of being engaged with these clouds? If they see that, they are born with belief in Swami. They are waiting to find exemplary people amongst us. So, your own wisdom will increase, and that is what he says there. And that is the experience that I had. After I started doing this practice, when I came out of Swami's ashram, I was very proud. I had spent 23 years there. People would ask me when I speak, oh, Swami, as if I'm the authority on Swami. Then they would ask me, so Ravi, what sadhana do you do? I don't need to do any sadhana. I have a lot of love for Swami, I used to say. And I beat myself up thinking that I wish I had been humble and taken this path 18 years back. Because this journey is very difficult. This journey is very tough. The external trials and tribulations that you underwent to reach Puttaparthi, to stay there as a student, those are nothing compared to the inner difficulty. The inner journey is very difficult. Of course, we have Swami's grace, but the problem is we never tried. What will he? So if you say, Swami, I'm flying to Atlanta, I'm flying to San Francisco today. Please help me. Okay, do something, pack your bag, call an Uber. What do you think? He'll just make you spawn, like the kids say, right? He spawned in San Francisco. No. So if you never sat and meditated, how will you experience Sai consciousness? You never closed your eyes. So we have a lot of work to do, and my hope is that I am able to get you not to read. Don't accumulate more knowledge. Don't accumulate more concepts. Take this idea of observing your mind, and those are the 3 takeaways I want to share with you. When you're ready, I don't mean to force you. I don't need to say that this is the only path. Try to observe the mind. Understand why it is called chatter. Why is it called chatter? Anybody can tell me? Sorry? That's one point. But when I tell you, you will say, oh my God, why didn't I think of it? Okay? But there's see, this is what I'm saying. What is the, Sorry? Wonder. Okay? What else? When I tell you, you're going to say, oh my God, so simple. Okay, that is true. Okay? 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 Yes. Yes. But you don't think that is third person, right? You think it is. But what's. Yes, yes, that's true. But still, none of you have given me that answer. Okay? Yeah. Yes, yes. So all of you have to come back for the next workshop. I'll tell you, when I tell you, and this is experiential. How many ever books you read, reading another person's idea is useless. That's what Swami said. Self-confidence undali. We have been Sai devotees for 40, 50 years. You have attracted His grace. Have self-confidence. Now do the sadhana. The secret in that term is that it is a voice. You know, when you start observing Manasik Sambhashna, you will find this secret. It is somebody talking to you. And you know it. That's what I told you. That is the most important point of this. It is a chatter. Somebody is talking to you. It could be a memory talking to you. It could be an analysis talking to you. It could be your imagination talking to you. But a thought never occurs without language. Thoughts are always accompanied. Even if you see a scene, let's say, like Brother Ravi Kumar said, right? He saw his mother when she passed away. But what accompanies it? Words, language. That is why Swami says, Nirvishaya Shanti. And you will not believe it. There is one discourse of Bhagwan. My God, I don't know where we lost the path. This Guru, this avatar gave us so much. There is one discourse he gave in 2008 where he is weeping. He is weeping. And you know what are his words? Keeps on saying, Meeru andaru manasto sadhana chestunaru. And this gripped me, this got me totally. You are all doing sadhana with the mind. Meeru andaru manasto sadhana chestunaru. You are all doing sadhana using the mind. And he says, you will never get a result because it is the thief in the dress of the cop. The mind is the thief in the dress of the cop. And you are taking that as your guru. You are listening to the mind. But the mind is the thief and you're making the thief the cop. And then he says, Premam tu cheyandi, do it with love. And that, see, he didn't give an answer. When he says do it with love, that is not an answer. And why does he not give an answer? The moment he gives an answer, that is what has happened to Raman Maharishi's Who Am I? Who am I was never meant to be a repetitive question. What is going to happen by you saying in English 3 words, who am I? What is going to happen? Nothing is going to happen. You're not going to find yourself, your Atma, your soul, or spirit, or whatever it is, by saying the words, who am I? But you don't think about this. We all hear talks, and we go and, who am I, who am I, who am I? Days have passed, years have passed. 3 English words. Who am I? They are used in so many other sentences. How will they awaken me? When you do Manasik Sambhashna, when you observe Manasik Sambhashna, and it starts to slow down, it's like 100 cars are there on the highway. All the time there is suddenly 3 a.m., 2:30 a.m., no sound. That stillness when you hear, that will only happen when you stop hearing your thoughts. So the key part of this riddle is you hear your thoughts. Your thoughts always express as words. And that is the benefit of stopping Manasik Sambhashna. You will then hear the other Shabda. And so I have a discourse of Swami, but you guys are not giving me time. There is a Shabda of Swami. Swami talks about. Shabda is, in the Vedanta, it is described. Shabda Brahman. So that shabda, so my plea, my humble request to all of you is start thinking about these things. By doing more bhajan, more seva, yes, we have to do that. But who is going to find the Sai consciousness within? Don't lose that opportunity. So if I was able to inspire you, give me a like or, I'm just kidding. That's totally against my whole, I'm just kidding, I'm just pulling your legs. I wanted to see if you are paying attention. Okay, Sai Ram, thank you so much. And